important. I'm excited about today's conversation. I know that we'll get into some good conversations, some good topics, and I just encourage people to ask questions, as many questions that they have, so that no one is left kind of confused or clouded during this time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I guess the main thing to start off with is really, let's start off with this recent news about what the president just released as far as yesterday, actually saying that student loan payments we no longer have to pay student loan payments for about 60 days. Now, is that true? Guide us through this
Mhm.
conversation. So, because I don't want to mess it up.
It is true. So for federal student loans, the key word here is federal. As of March 13th, payments have been retroactively suspended. And so I'm actually going to go live about this later today. There is a 1-800 number, and they are instituting a formalized system. And the system is not clean and clear just yet. So I need to get a little bit more information before I completely release it as to how to request the 60 days. If you talk to your lender directly, you can ask for a 60-day administrative forbearance. Everyone can ask for that. It's separate from any forbearance that you may have remaining or that you would normally utilize on your own. In this case, you're being given that by the government completely. So that's something to tap into. So again, I'll say it again, it's a 60-day administrative forbearance is what you would request. But there is a formalized process that is coming out that you can call in and request it. I just need to verify that it's for every lender and not just the one lender. I just received that information around like midnight. So I need to make sure. But what I want to remind everyone is that there are 47 million borrowers. And so while I know everyone is really concerned and anxious, just know that call times are at an all-time high. Literally, you could be on the phone for, let's say, an hour, and then the call could hang up. Like that has happened to our team a lot.
Yeah.
So I want people to utilize their apps. I want people to create online profiles. And if there's any way to put your request in online, and it should pop up and it should say COVID-19, you should be able to go through that method instead of calling.
Awesome. So even with regards to your business, how would people, when they reach out to call you during this time, what is the best, what information should they have on hand so that this is an expedited process?
Yeah, so we're doing business as normal. When we work with clients, we expect that you have no information, then we'll tell you what we need.
Awesome.
Not to be funny, a lot of people do not have papers. They don't have any paperwork. They don't have any recollection of anything because some people throw stuff away, they move. So right now, our process always has been a free call. Let's just make sure that your question really validates an actual paid appointment. It may not. It might be something we can answer for you like just that quick, and then the call is done. If it is a consultation which is paid, that's because you're probably needing help to do something with your account. Right now, we see a lot of people trying to get out of default, wage garnishment. We'll get into that in a second. We see people wanting to consolidate at an all-time high, get into an affordable payment because their income has changed due to COVID. It's a great time to resubmit that income information or do an immediate recalculation. So we've been helping with that. Or people just have a lot of questions because they're confused, they're nervous, and they can't get a hold of their lender, and then we can interpret for them. So we've seen an influx in business because lenders are unable to take the call volume, if that makes sense.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. So another big question, I remember that when I had initially reached out to you, I was thinking just how a lot of people are refinancing their home mortgages right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to figure out if interest was so low, is there any way for us to refinance student loans? And you told me, absolutely not. Do not try to go to the private sector if you have federal loans. So can you share to everyone why
Yeah.
that's very important?
Oh my God. I know everyone that has refinanced with Citizens Bank, SoFi, et cetera, are kicking themselves right now because the private loan sector has only been told to stop harassing and going forward with collections. It doesn't mean they cannot collect or harass. They've just been told to stop, literally. But federal is where it's at. Federal is where you are always protected. I stress this all the time. I hear a lot of people say, well, my federal loans, when I consolidated, came to an interest rate of 5.5. But if I go over to another company, I can get my interest rate down to 3%, which is really good. You'll save 2.5. But what about the provisions you lose in the time of need? That could be whether it's your own economic distress or medical challenges. That could be if there was a natural disaster, as such as we're seeing now. You're not protected when you take your loans to a private entity. And so I've been stressing to people, while interest rates are super low and will be low, this is not the time to hop, skip, and jump. And do believe that companies are going to vamp up marketing for this, right? So I need you to be aware of that too. This is not the time to jump over to the next company. I need you to stay put, because if the government is giving us 2 months, 60 days, and this thing really goes on and it's really impacting the American economy, which it will, beyond May, of course, we could see them to say an extension of this. But you can't get anything extended if you leave and jump ship. So I'm telling everybody to stay put.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that clarity, because I definitely was somebody that was going to try to go private with my federal loans to get that 0% interest. So just for further clarity, if someone has all private loans, what does that mean for them right now? What can they do?
So I did a podcast on this called Bills, COVID Edition that people can check out, which talks to you about how to navigate and work with your private lenders. So right now you need to say the words, because of COVID-19 or because of the coronavirus, I am unable to make this payment. What concessions do you have? And companies are creatively coming up with ideas to help people and kind of restructure plans and payments, but they are by no means responsible like a federal entity to look out for you. Now, a lot of companies and major brand companies are electing to just move payments back for 2 to 3 months. I know, for example, my car company is through a private credit union. I got an email saying you're not required to make a payment and no penalty, no interest until May. And I'm like, well, I didn't ask for that, but okay, well, it is like, if you still want to make a payment, you can, so some companies are just getting in front of it. That may be your company with your student loans or private entity payments too. It may not be. So you may have to request by name. So let me say it again. You have to say, because of the coronavirus or because of COVID-19, I am unable. You can't just say I'm unable, because they're not going to trigger whatever help that they have, and this is just to protect their own interests and their financial well-being too. But they are not under the direction of the president or the Department of Education to suspend, stop, anything of that nature.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. And as far as now, let's go to federal. If you have all federal loans right now, what does this period mean for you, and what options? Because one thing I'm noticing is that if you have a fixed interest rate on federal loans, that's going to be a fixed interest rate for the entirety of the life of the loan.
Mm-hmm. So if you consolidate it, that's the sum total of all your loans into one new interest rate. So if you had a 2% and a 6%, which will now make a 4 because it's just divided by 2, right? So you're going to have a fixed interest rate. So here's what I'm telling people. If your loans are not high in value, like high in amount, this may be your time to go ahead and start to pay down your principal, because any payments that are made during this time, March 13th until, will count totally towards your principal. So you may owe, let's say, 20,000. If you got extra money, go ahead and hit that 20, right? Because now you're able to actually attack your principal without daily accruing interest. It's really a great time for those that can get on top of that loan. If you are not able to make a payment, or it wouldn't make a dent in your payment, those are like the 6-figure borrowers, then I would say at this time, cash reserves are so important. Take advantage of the 60-day of administrative forbearance and stack up your money and your savings, because we don't know how long this is going to go. We don't know how you're going to be impacted employment-wise. Nobody is safe right now with employment. I want to be very clear. I think this has showed us one thing, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you are someone that's degreed with a really great job, nobody's safe. So that concept of I've got a great job and a 401k and my God, we're seeing massive layoffs. We're at about 3.5 million people applying for unemployment. So you can't rely on anybody but you right now.
Yeah.
And so I tell people, if you need to, even for me as a business owner, we're doing well. I still am grateful that the car note got pushed to May, because that's an extra however much that's going to go right here into this savings. So if I needed to float payroll, if I needed to, that's how we have to think right now, because we don't know what we don't know. We've never seen anything like this before. So cash reserves as much as possible is what I'm recommending during this time.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. That makes so much sense. Um, Another thing that, so I'm on a fixed income payment plan right now. And this is a question that was brought to me, but I'm also dealing with this myself. And it's, you can either pay a large sum right now, like to say 500, right, or $700, or you could pay a smaller amount. So one individual actually told me that she was told she could pay $12 a month, but obviously it was going to take 30 to 40 years to pay that off. I'm at a point right now where I'm paying $100 a month, and I
Mhm.
could be paying a lot more, but because of the plan I worked out, I don't have to. I asked them, if I paid $100 a month, how long would it take me to pay the entirety of this loan off, including interest? And they told me 2040 something. And then the lady told me that if I make these payments for 20 years, my entire loan will get erased. Is that
Mhm.
true?
Yeah, so everyone has to remember that there are different type of forgiveness options. So you have what's called public service loan forgiveness, which is if you're working for a public entity and you're enrolled into the program, your payments have been successful. After 10 years of on-time payments, 120 of them technically, you will have your loan debt forgiven. The other entity is where you are a part of an income-driven plan that is at a 20-year mark, 25, 25 is the max. Then you would be able to, whatever by the end of 25 years is remaining left over, have it completely forgiven too. So you can do the $100 plan, long as your income doesn't, fluctuate in a major way. You could ride this one out for 25 years. That's your business. Now, along the way, it is going to probably affect your DTI, it could affect your credit along the way, because that interest is compounding, loans getting bigger, your payment stays the same. Your credit is going to take a hit over time, if not within that first or 2 years of having that income driven plan. So that is what I will stress to you is important, right? But there have been provisions around there to get approved for a home. I know a lot of people think about that. Now, if you're like, well, I don't want to take 25 years, I want to get this rid of and paid off in 10 years, then you want to treat it like it's a really nice car. And now your payments are going to look, $400 to $700. And then you're going to get rid of it a lot sooner. The thing is, you have to decide based off of your budget and your financial goals, which one is best for you. And so, what I will stress to people, particularly minorities, is that when you enroll in a 25-year plan, nothing wrong with it if you need it, but you do negligate your chance to invest and save. And so, what happens is if I meet
But,
Daniel, go ahead.
sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Can you explain? Unless you were going to explain that, what does
Mhm.
that mean? Um,
Yep. So what happens ultimately is if you are keeping this loan around for forever and a day, you're putting out more money than you possibly would have put out if you got it paid off a lot quicker. And again, it just depends on how much you're paying and how much total is due. Like when I see people that have a $30,000 loan and they're going to take 25 years to pay it off, it's just you're going to pay more than you probably would have if you would have just paid it, right?
yeah.
So, but that's different than someone who owes six figures. So this advice could go a couple ways. But what we find statistically is that when if I were to meet Daniel in 25 years, let's say you're in your 30s now, I meet you 25 years from now, your later 50s, mid 50s. Now you're just starting to take extra money that you could have been using before to start to invest and save. Now you're only probably going to have, let's say, maybe 10 to 15 more years in your working years, and then you're retired. So we're seeing that minorities on average, particularly minority women, do not have a huge nest egg or are saving. The other challenge is we're seeing minority women, particularly not so much men, but minority women taking out Parent Plus loans for their student or their child rather, and they still have loans of their own, or they just paid off their loans. Like, we see
Ooh,
mom paying
yeah,
off her loan at
yeah,
52, and now at 54, she's taking out a Parent Plus loan. Cycle starts all over again. She
yeah,
dies with
yeah,
these loans.
yeah.
That makes sense. So
Absolutely.
it's a catch-22. You just have to depend on what's going to work for you and your household. But if you're going to take that plan and ride it on out, you still have to make sure that you're finding space in your budget to invest in the stock market, mutual funds, real estate, whatever way you're going to be passively making money. You still got to do that.
Okay, thank you. That makes so much sense. It's a lot of clarity too. Because when they told me that, I was thinking I'll just keep making these payments for the next 20 years, and then it'll just wipe away. So, and also we have a lot of people that work within governments and municipalities and for nonprofits, including ourselves. So we were under the impression that if you worked for a nonprofit for a certain amount of years, let's say, the student loan debt forgiveness, that they would be able to wipe away the balance of your student loans if you did that. But what we're seeing is a majority of people didn't do it the right way.
Mhm.
So can you give any clarity into that? And then obviously you have the services to provide more clarity, right?
Yeah, so the public service loan forgiveness program is a program that's real, and it does work when applied for correctly. So you're absolutely right. There was not a lot of information around how to apply, how to reapply, recertify technically every year, and get your HR involved in filling this out. So what was happening was people were paying their loans, they were working at these jobs, and they just knew that the government was going to forgive. But the
Mm,
government didn't know you were working here. And then when it came out that you should apply to have your loan debt forgiven, people applied, but they never applied on the front end. And
yeah.
then most of their loans weren't in the correct order. So if you have FFEL loans, which a lot of people that are millennials, excuse me, do have, and that would be if you went to school before 2005, you may have an FFEL loan. If you do not have a direct Stafford loan, you're not eligible for the public service loan forgiveness program. You didn't know that. Now you got to consolidate. And when you consolidate, you start all over counting towards loan payments. And
Mm,
so if we didn't have this conversation 10 years ago, or when the direct Stafford program really got taken into effect around, I want to say 06, 07, you didn't know that. And so guess what? Any payments you were making just didn't qualify. And if you would have filled out the form, you would have probably filled it out sooner. The problem with the form is when you fill it out and you get denied, they never tell you why you've been denied. Do you know how many clients that we've had where we've had to say, oh, all you got to do is boom, 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 and then they've been approved. But when
yeah.
they were doing it on their own, they never got approved because the form never said why they didn't get approved. So there's a lot of flaws in that public service loan forgiveness system. But when it's done correctly, you do see the fruits of your benefits and your labor. And it is right clear. It's just not a lot of people getting the right information. So a lot of people haven't taken advantage of it yet.
Awesome. So I guess this has been incredibly insightful. Again, just thank you for this. And there's two things I just wanted to ask before we wrap this up. The first thing is, can you kind of give some insight as to whether or not who is it still as beneficial? Because like in the past 20 years, everyone's been saying go to college, take out the student loans. And my theory kind of is you shouldn't your salary, let's say in 10 years after graduation, should at least be matched or above the amount of student loans that you have. Maybe not 10 years, but at least 15. If you're going to school and you're taking out student loans and that specific degree can't get you a job that's going to pay you the overall balance of your student loans in 10 to 20 years, do you think it's worth it to continue to taking out these student loans for these degrees?
No. So I have a saying, borrowing determination equals career compensation. So I'll say it again.
Oh, yeah. Say
Borrowing
that again,
determination
please.
equals career compensation. Borrowing determination equals career compensation.
Wow.
And you could use that for your younger siblings that may be going to college. You could use that if you're thinking about going to grad school. What we're not going to do, and this is where we see the most stifling debt, and this is particularly true for minority women. We see women, Black women particularly, just being honest, going back to school for that master's degree as if it was a handbag. The master's degree has become the new purse. Everybody wants one. Everybody wants that Sonia Lewis, comma, mine is MED. Yours could be MBA, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever your three letters are at the end. It's like a handbag.
Yeah.
And it's the thing to have. But what we're not going to do, sis, if you're listening, this is for women particularly, because on average, Daniel, men actually get their master's degrees funded or they don't go. So women
Yeah.
particularly will have one or two masters and have six-figure debt. And so
Yeah.
now we could do a conversation about this a whole nother day, but now we have dating disparities within our own culture. So Daniel has 20,000, Susan has 150,000.
Woo!
Daniel doesn't know because Daniel doesn't talk to her about money
Yeah.
initially because she bad, she cute, you know.
Yeah.
You like her, she works at a good job, she fits well on her arm, mom will like her. But when they get married and they start talking about merging finances, and then she pops up with, oh, but you know I got 150, so how are we gonna do that? Well, she already got a mortgage, Daniel. How you gonna get one with her? So
Yeah.
nobody talks like that really in our culture. That's a whole conversation for another day. I'll get back to what I was saying. So what I was saying was you have to be careful when going forward for school, particularly for those that are looking into a master's degree or just in general to borrow for a bachelor's, if it doesn't make financial sense. What we're not going to do is borrow 60,000 for a job that statistically in our state only pays us 30. That's a bad investment.
Yeah.
So if you want to, look at that material, like let's say you wanted to study butterfly photography. I'm making this up. I'm sure there's a major like it somewhere. And that major cost you that degree 50,000. I'm going to need you to go to the free library, the University of Google, and iTunes University, and learn it for yourself. Implement it for yourself, but we are not spending any money on it. And so we have to start putting into perspective. I'm only going for this higher education to get this higher pay salary. And if I'm not going to get paid more, I'm not going to pay for that study. I'm going to get a scholarship for it. I'm going to get a fellowship for it, or I'm going to go to the free library. I want to put this concept in perspective for you. My friend from Philadelphia, he was making about 50,000 a year. And he was like, I don't want to make 50,000. I'm brilliant. I should make more than 50,000. I agree. He's one of the smartest people I know. So what he did for 30 days was he self-taught at the main library here in the city, how to do coding and some IT project management. I'm totally messing up what he was studying. But anyway, he self-taught for 30 days.
Yeah.
He then started to go on interviews. Again, this is what men do and not so much women. Men will go on an interview if they see one thing that checks off the box that they're qualified for. Women will only go if they see 8 out of 10. This is a statistic that's real. And so while then you and I might look the same job description, I might actually be more credentialed, but I'm like, oh, I don't hit 2 points. I'm not going to apply. Daniel's like, I hit one. I'm going for it. So you know what he did? Daniel, he interviewed, this is a true story. He interviewed and he told them, I have a master's degree in boom, and I have certificates in boom, but I self-studied this, which is what you need for the job. But I'm confident from what I've learned in my master's with this will also apply to this, right? And he said, let's talk about whatever it is, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer. I mean, he was very well self-taught. So they were asking him questions. Some things he didn't really know, but he knew a lot. And the guy said, I've never seen anybody, self-teach themselves, I want to give you a chance. Daniel, how much do you think he made from 50,000? What do you think that position was that he got?
At least over
Because he
85.
self-taught 30 days. I want to put this in perspective. 30 days, not 4 years of college. Okay, what do you think?
At least 85,000.
Okay, I wish I could have some people bid online right now. How much? But 200,000.
Wow.
200,000, and now he makes 300,000 with any job he gets, any contract, because he only needed the one job to get in the door. And now with his experience, because he really has knowledge now in the field, he now is making 300,000. Just case in point to show you that having a degree is not everything. He had degrees, let me be clear, and he was able to say, because I have degrees in this and a master's in this and certifications in this, I can apply that knowledge to this area where I have self-taught myself. And I'm sure with some experience on the job, I'll know more. Boom. So how many times do we not apply for something because we don't have enough knowledge where we can go gain it? And how many times are we feeling like we got to go pay for a whole nother degree? This is the thing I'll leave you with. As a business owner, there were a lot of things I didn't know, but I knew I needed to know. And I was about to go enroll in an MBA program and do all this stuff, right? And I was like, hold up. Let me look up at the SBA, Small Business Administration, and I saw that they were offering classes in the format of a 7 or 12-week entrepreneurship program in the major Ivy League schools that were around me. Do you know, Daniel, the same professor that taught at the SBA program for $400 is the same professor that teaches that same course for $4,000 for the course? 400, 4,000. Yeah. I'm just catching him on Thursdays at 6. They're catching him on Tuesdays at 6. Same building. Yeah. Now, again, I didn't get 3 credits for it, but who cares in the practicalities of life? I've got the same knowledge that you've got for $3,600 cheaper. That's how we've got to start to think. So sometimes it's okay to be an entrepreneurship when it comes to your education and your schooling, your finances. That entrepreneurship kicked in, and I was like, sis, you don't got 4,000. You just left your job. But you need to know how to do boom, boom, boom in order to grow your team. So I'll turn it back over to you. But I don't think that college is for everyone as a student loan doctor, because I see the massive debt that comes my way and our team's way. I'm like, you shouldn't have went to school. You really are good at, and that's the last thing I'll leave you with too, Daniel. What's your gift? What's your gift? And so when people really understand what their gift is and what their passion is and what they were put on this earth to do, there's a lot of money in the gift. And there's a lot of money. I mean, maybe you need to hone the gift and
dropping jewels.
Yeah, but nobody said you had to enroll in college to master the gift. And if I knew me, if I really knew me, I could save myself some student loan debt. Daniel, I always was about $1. Do you understand that I was making fake carnival rides with leaves piles with a chair and a rope, and I was selling fake carnival rides for a minute for $1. And I never asked my mom, I promise you on Jesus, I never asked my mom for money as a kid growing up, because I made money since I could make money. Since I understood that money was candy, cigarettes, and jawbreakers at the corner store. So I need to get, I need about $5. And it hit my mom, I think, when I was like 10 or 11. She like, where you getting this candy from? She like, did you take money from my purse? Like, she thought I was stealing. I was like, no. Well, what I did was I do carnival rides from 5 to 7, and I showed her my little setup. She came outside and saw, what in that?
You were young and focused, determined.
I was always a hustler. So what are you naturally good at is what I tell people to challenge to think about. If they're going to reinvent themselves, you can always change what you're going to be when you grow up. If you have children and you're watching this, what's your child naturally good at? Does your child upsell you without even knowing that they're upselling you? They're probably going to be good in sales. So what are you good at? And if we could just allow people to take more time to figure that out, because our school system is not built and designed for that, then we would see people, in my opinion, with less student loan debt and really more fulfilled and making the money, because money comes easily, frequently, and abundantly when you're in your gift, honey. And I'm a true testament of that. I used to make $50,000 a year, and I could do 50 in a month. And that's just because I like what I do. Nothing ever feels like work. And I promise myself,
I love it. Yeah.
If I ever felt like this was work, I was going back to work.
Yeah.
So I'll say to you, and that's the other thing. People always are like, how am I going to get my student loan debt paid? I'm like, well, you're not in your gift. You're not in your field. That's why it's such a challenge for you to get this debt paid off, because you don't like what you do. Yeah. So maybe you do got to do what you got to do to pay your bills. But then maybe from 6 to 10, instead of watching millionaires on TV and people who got money on TV, maybe you need to get to the money. What you watching TV for? You broke.
Exactly.
So don't get me started, Daniel. I go rogue. I'm going to turn it back over to you, because I really do go rogue.
Listen, I love it. I mean, you're definitely preaching right now, and a lot of people need to hear this. And I think it's significant because yesterday we were talking with a digital marketing expert, Arvin Abalara, and he was basically giving people pointers on how to acquire new skills during this time and how relevant, regardless, we know this, right? Like technology is going to be the new economy and the attention economy. But a lot of people, including myself, we are still kind of dependent on person to person, and we don't really tap into the platforms that we can utilize to expand our network. And so he was talking about one of the things to learn, not only a new skill, but this is a great opportunity to recreate yourself, to reinvent who you are. right?
Daniel, put this in perspective. How many times are you ever going to be told again to have a seat? Like
Exactly.
literally,
Yeah.
like we've never been told to slow down and have a seat. And
Yeah.
if you can use this time effectively, and that's what I've been talking to my Instagram tribe about, I'm like, while you're seated, be fruitful and productive. Don't be laid up right now. We don't need no corona babies coming out of this, okay? Don't be
Yeah.
laid up. If you laid up next to the person that's broken, you broke, that's wrong. Get
Yeah.
unlaid up. You got to go home, bruh. And
Yeah.
you need to get with your pen and paper and start thinking about life. Like, what does this time look like for you? You know, what can you do right now to monetize while you're home? Some people have so many gifts and talents, and for example, I was saying on my live, teachers right now are laid off. Sis, your gift is to teach. Get on live and teach. Get
Yeah.
on Zoom and teach. You
Yeah.
know, Zoom is free for 45 minutes. Come on, teach for a moment. And
Yeah.
so, and then if people want to make donations to you, drop your Cash App. They could. Or if you want to build homeschooling curriculums for $5, people got $5 because online shopping is up. And I don't want to hear no crap about, oh, that's not right to monetize do in this time. No, yes, it is. Because Amazon is up. All the retailers are up. That means people are home shopping so they can buy your $5 curriculum too. What is it that you're really, really good at that you do easily and effortlessly? And that right now, with the help of technology like we're using,
Mhm.
you should be able to get some money. Don't hold no phone in your hand during Corona and not make no money. I think that's weird. And if you can't make money,
That's
whatever, it's weird. And
it.
whatever your gift is, let's say your gift is abstract, like you got to use your hands to do, then you need to be writing a business plan during this time. So maybe you get up and you give yourself 2 hours a day to hone in on the business plan. Maybe you go ahead and give yourself time to research and read online. Be productive. Don't be stagnant. You need to be practicing, because what this has shown us, I'm going to repeat myself, is nobody is safe. Not the entrepreneur, not the makeup artist, not the dancer, if you a dancer, then sis, put the camera on and go dance and say, if you would like to cash at me donations for your Zumba experience. DJ Nice was just, playing music for the world, and people were cash apping him because he just was giving away his gift.
Yeah.
So I think people right now have to come on out of fear, come on out of being stuck, and get unstuck and say, what am I supposed to be doing in this time? How can I contribute to society? Daniel, all I'm doing is staying in my lane and my gift. I'm talking to people about personal finance that I know and understand. I bring in experts that know more than me. And I'm talking about student loans as if I'm a reporter on the 9 o'clock news. Like, that's all I'm doing. And I'm doing okay doing it.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this and you're like a little depressed, you're down, you're a little sad, I need you, this is what I tell people, do a quick exercise. You need to write out 3 things you're good at personally and 3 things you're good at professionally. And if you don't know, then you need to ask some people that know you well, personally and professionally. Call your coworkers, whatever. And what am I really good at work? Or mom, what am I really good at? Like, what do you like about me? What do you know that I do really well? Ask your best friend, whatever. And inside of whatever it is that you do really well, that they're paying you for that job or just in general, there's money inside of the gift. And now I need you to go figure out how to monetize during this time. And when people go back out into society and they are working with our hairstylists, our makeup artists, our nail salons, and you better believe that you're going to be hit and hit hard, because people are waiting to go back. I'm looking at my nails right now, Daniel. Can't wait till my nail salon opens back up. You know what I mean? It's so much so. My nail artist, he's a genius. He said, listen, all of your we were appointment based only. He said all of your appointments have been pushed out and canceled. And for a lot of his clients, he doesn't require deposits, only new people. He said, if you would like to be put in order on my waiting list for an appointment, you can send a $20 Cash App. I'll put you. I sent that Cash App so fast, I ain't got time to ask logistics. Just put me in the chair first.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So even during this time while he's stagnant, I knew that $20 might help flow him until his shop open. That's what we got to start doing. How do we be entrepreneurs and maybe in a non-entrepreneur like environment, even if you are not an entrepreneur? So the one thing I believe about you, Daniel, as I believe about myself and a lot of people that follow me on Instagram, is that when times like this come about, this is when we will see who's really made of what. This is when we'll see who's really was talking and who really was working. And the talkers is a little quiet right now because it's hard to be talking when you're broke. You know what I'm saying? So we'll
and
see.
it's an and it shows like you need to be agile, right? You have to have the ability to maneuver around whatever roadblocks come. And even if it's something like a virus that shuts down the entire country, how can you really still continue to provide value? You know, how can
Right.
you still provide a message or knowledge to people that you've been associated with? So this is incredible. I mean, we're going to chop this up and I'm going to be sharing this information
Sure.
for the next weeks to come. You dropped so many different jewels. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So I'll just leave with you said a quote. If you can say that quote one more time about taking student loans, I think that was ingenious. If you can leave that with us.
Oh, I was saying that borrowing determination equals career compensation. Borrowing determination equals career compensation. People love that quote. When I'm on the radio, that quote gets played in fragments on like
Yeah,
iHeartRadio.
nice.
So all it basically means is whatever you're about to borrow, just make sure it's going to equal to what you're going to be compensated into that career of choice. So if you're going to borrow 60, make sure you're going to make at least 60 to start. Not one day I'm gonna make 60, no, like to start. That's the key
Yeah,
word here.
yeah,
And if you're not and you really want to do it, I'm okay with that.
yeah.
Then don't borrow the money though. Just go to the library or get a scholarship or a fellowship. But so that's what we want to tell people, to be more thought intuitive about, like, don't pay for something you can't. And if you're like, oh, my job told me I need a master's to get promoted, but the promotion is only $1 more an hour, I'm being serious, because people like titles and not checks.
Mm,
So if you're only going to get $1 more, but they're not helping you pay for this master's that's going to cost you 40,000. No, I don't want you to get the $1 more. Go do a side hustle and make 10 more an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah.
so, but that's how we get caught up in the society of who's titles, degrees. And I'm just so glad to be out of that rat race, because I was that girl. I
Yeah.
want to have my master's in this. I'm going to be a college president. I'm going to be do. And then I'm like, but they not making no money. And
Mm,
I just remember who I was at my core, and I like money.
yeah,
The
yeah.
reason why I like money, Daniel, because I'm not stuck on things. I like money because you cannot be a good giver broke. I'll leave you guys with that. Right now, during these times, people need help, and you cannot give from a place that you don't have. And so I know for me in my house, as we serve the Lord, okay, I know that I have to have
Like
reserves
that, yeah.
aside for only a few people. From my mama, because my mama's retired early. She got sick. So my mama I need to make sure she's good. And I need to make sure my team that I went into a contractual agreement with of employment is good and self. And I got a
Mm,
dog. Okay. That's the only people right here. You know what I'm saying? And outside of that, nobody else matters. I can't
mm.
help anybody else on
You
this
gotta
time. I
stay
got to lock
focused.
it on those people.
Tunnel vision.
Yes, so you can't be a good giver broke. And so that's why I strive to not be broke, because I like being a good giver, and it's biblical. That's what it says you should be.
No, it's
People
fact.
only want your hugs when you broke. So you gotta
That's
find your
a
as to
cold,
why
harsh
you broke
reality.
already.
Seriously, yeah. That's a cold,
Yeah,
harsh
like, oh,
reality.
that hug is off.
Yeah.
Oh, so precious. So,
um,
but so I thank you so much for having this. Was really, really fun.
no, thank you. I mean, I love it. This is super fun and it's very enlightening. I mean, I would never be able to have this conversation myself, and a lot of people are asking me, so that's why I had to reach out to the expert in this. So just again, thank you so much for the time. Where can everyone that's watching this, going to be watching this, we're
Mhm.
going to include this link in our Facebook group. So if anybody's watching, please join our Facebook group. Where can they follow you? Where can they contact you? What's the best way?
I would recommend the Student Loan Doctor, all spelled out, on Instagram. That's where the party is what I tell people. Then Facebook.com/the Student Loan Doctor LLC, I believe, is at the end. We have a podcast on iTunes, the Student Loan Doctor LLC. And then I feel like we're a few more places. Not to be funny, just Google the Student Loan Doctor. We're Googleable. We've earned our stripes, and you'll find us. You can go to our website for help at drpleasehelpme.com. And so just get in where you fit in. You don't have to buy anything from us to get free content, resources. We have a webinar coming up this Sunday that's going to be really powerful. We have a 30-day class that's $37. I kept it so cheap because people just need the help and information. So wherever it is that you fit in, that you need this information, just jump in. Don't be too prideful to say what you don't know. And I tell people all the time, one of the things that we really do believe in at our company is undervalue, over deliver. So we don't charge a lot for anything that we do, but we always give a lot. And I
Mm,
think that's why our business has been super successful as it has been. So I hope that people come on over and follow us and engage with us. And I know people from this post will go and follow, engage with you and your organization. I know you guys are New York based, but I believe that what you're doing is going to be nationwide, chapters.
Listen, minority millennials, this is what we always say. It's a demographic, and it's minorities the new majority, right?
Yes, I
Um,
saw you. I love it.
and by 2024, we truly believe that our demographic is going to be solely responsible for who is the United States president. So by when that time comes, we have to be equipped, we have to be knowledgeable, and we have to make sure that we have proper equity to make sure that the future of America is sustainable. So, we have a serious mission. Right now, we're focused on Long Island, but you never know what God has in plan, right?
I believe chapters will pop up and spring about. I do.
I love it. Well, I'll definitely listen. We're inviting all blessings, and I'm excited about this. And also, we're going to be having a partnership, right,
Yep. Yes.
in the near time. So,
I need to send you that. Thank you for the
yeah,
reminder. Yes.
yeah. So we'll be releasing that, and just this is just great. So thank you so much. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Enjoy the rest of this day, this beautiful day. Definitely get out and enjoy it, and stay safe during this period as well.
And give me about an hour to get you over what we discussed. So if you post anything, and go hand in hand, then we'll talk again.
Will do it. I do wanted to say this to everyone, especially our young people, our peers and colleagues. Take this serious, because they're saying that over 50% of the people that are getting tested positive for this is 50 and under, and a lot of them are like 18 to 35. So that's directly our demographic. So take it serious. Let's save lives. Let's be responsible. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you so much, Sonia.
Thank you. All right. Talk to you soon, Daniel.
Have a blessing. Yep.